Holiday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Holiday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Holiday. Holiday, bring it on.
Today on CityCast Denver, spring is on its way, and the Mile High City is full of wonderful things for you to do this month. We're rounding up our best picks in this guide to March, complete with savory noodle bowls, local art recs, and even a botanical suggestion for all you green thumbs out there. Oh, and stick around for a bonus sponsored rec about some cool stuff happening in Aspen this winter and spring. Today is Thursday, February 27th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Newsletter editor Adrian Gonzalez, hi.
Good morning.
And producer Paul Caroli, hello.
Hey, good morning, Bree, and good morning to the listeners.
Hi, everybody. New listeners, longtime listeners, welcome back. It's our March guide where we talk about cool stuff happening in and around Denver in the month of March. We've got a couple categories as usual, and then one of our one special category for the month, we'll be talking about something to do or experience, something to eat or drink, and then something green, which is really open to interpretation. So let's start with something to do or experience. Paul, do you want to start?
Sure. So I teased this earlier this week that I was going to do a little special twist on my recommendations this month because we've been talking about Rhino a lot, and I've been loving spending time in Rhino because my wife and I, as I've talked about, we're in the middle of a luxury home renovation / mold removal project, which means we're staying at Airbnbs around the city, currently downtown. So we're walking to Rhino a lot, and I'm getting to know it in a new way, this new era of Rhino. And something to eat, drink. This is the first category? Is that right, Brie?
Do experience.
Do experience. Okay, that's my best one. So something to do and experience in Rhino in March is an art show on First Friday, which is March 7th, at Lux Forge, which is at the Backyard on Blake Space. And this is an art show featuring the work of an artist who, one, I've noticed a lot in Rhino, but also you'll see his work up on the walls all over the city. He's a graffiti artist who's born and raised in Denver, been around a long time. And I think he has this very distinct style and these characters that I'm starting to think of as like a very Denver thing, this triangle character. Chris Haven is the artist's name. And you've seen his stuff up and down the Cherry Creek Trail recently, but he's got these characters and each one he'll do a little twist on it. So I think on the Cherry Creek Trail, there's like a Batman pyramid guy. He does all kinds of them, and there's new ones going up all the time because he's active right now. But he's doing an exhibition all month long at Lux Forge, and it's opening on March 7th. I think he'll be there, and he says he's selling his art, but also, quote, souvenirs of his iconic pyramid people. So you can buy little like pins, little patches to take home to have a little piece of that street art feeling of Rhino for yourself.
I was going to say, I like his approach too, because he does usually have something that's really affordable. If you can't purchase a larger piece of art, you can still purchase something from him of his work. So we've got a little piece of his that we bought at Artopia many years ago in our living room.
I love Chris Haven. Last time we were in Puerto Rico, me and Joanna went down there, and there was a little store just up the street where we were staying, and I remember driving by a trash can and going, wait a second.
What? Was it one of the pyramid guys?
It's on the 117 in Aguadilla in the western side of the island. I was like, that's Chris Haven. No way.
I'll give you a little secret. That's how you know he's a true graffiti artist, because they cannot stop doing it no matter where they are. Vacations for my brother, they're called spraycations. So he was out, and obviously he was out having a good time traveling too. That's cool. Well, Adrian, what about you? What's something to do or experience?
For me, I always love to go to the annual Denver March Powwow. So this is, I believe, the 49th year. It's at the...
Wow.
49. Can you believe it? It's at the Denver Coliseum. It's going to be March 21st through the 23rd. So it's 3 days. You have vendors. You have a lot of different dancing. I think there's about 1,500 dancers representing over 100 tribes, or close to 100 tribes from all over North America, so all the way up to Canada. There's dancing, there's stuff you can buy, there's cool stuff, and it's for everybody, which I love. I think you can come and appreciate some of the native cultures of North America. You can learn, you can know how to support, and you can eat fry bread, which, you know, as a growing up as a fat kid and still a fat kid inside, if you've never had fry bread, prepare yourself. It's literally what it sounds like. It is doughy bread, deep fried in lard or oil.
I was talking to a friend of the show, Joshua Emerson, about this. He's excited about the powwow this year. He told me he's planning to do a bunch of social content at the powwow.
Oh, fun.
So check out @Danger Emerson on Instagram if you can't make it, but want to, partake in some of the fun.
This is such a quintessential Denver experience to me. If you've never been, you've got to go. It's so welcoming, so fun. It's just the energy is so beautiful in that space. So good rec. I love it.
How about you, Bree?
I was hanging out in Aurora recently, which I had not in a long time, and I am going to recommend going to see anything at Manos Sagrados. Yeah. Beautiful new venue on East Colfax in Aurora, run by Bruce Trujillo. She's been doing something in the art and music world for, over a decade, at least here. I've known her. She's from Grand Junction, but she put together this beautiful space. It's been maybe over a year in the making, getting all the permitting to make sure it's a legal space. They have a open bar, they have a bar. It's accessible. And what I really love about this space is you can see comedy. Actually, Joshua Emerson, friend of the show you just mentioned, had a show there last month. They do dance parties. They do concerts. One of my favorite things that I might recommend is any aspiring DJs. They do an open decks night on Tuesday. I think it's like the first or second Tuesday of every month. You'll have to check their calendar, but you can go and practice DJing for 20-minute sets. And it's really just like an open space for folks to practice who are maybe at home doing the DJ thing, but want to get out into a venue and are nervous. And this is the perfect space for it. And I went to like the opening gala there last month, and the energy in there is beautiful. It's just a really welcoming, nice space. They also have artist studios in the basement, and it just made my heart so happy as a person that produced events for a long time. It's my dream space. Like, it was just so welcome to everyone, kids, parents, anybody is welcome there, and Bruce is doing a great job, and I want to see the space thrive. So check out their calendar at manosagrados.com and find something that you think you would like, and go see something cool and meet some people.
I'm so excited for Bruce.
I've never heard of an open DJ set before. That's cool.
I've seen a couple other places do it, but this is a non sort of club setting, so it's a little bit less intimidating, and that's what I really like about it. Is truly her mission is to get people on stage who've never performed before, and this is one of those unique opportunities to do that. This episode is brought to you by CAP Management. CAP Management is a Denver-based HOA management company serving townhomes, mid-rises, and high-rises. From staffing, accounting, project management, careful reserve planning, customer service, and more, CAP serves properties that appreciate working with an engaged, proactive team with the expertise to work with the most complex properties. Many of their clients make up the skyline of our wonderful city. CAP is also the only HOA management company with a sustainability mission, dedicated to guiding HOAs in how to operate in a sustainable way, navigating ordinances like Energize Denver and Colorado's Building Performance Program. I'm just thinking about when my mom took over her HOA and got them to install those car chargers. Looking for Brooke to manage your property? Well, she's available. I'm just kidding. CAP is working to envision the future of the HOA industry, like their partnership with the University of Colorado to pilot the nation's first sustainable HOA certification framework. If your HOA is looking for help, visit capmanagement.com to learn more. That's capmanagement.com. Hey, it's Bree. I want to tell you about Heyday, CityCast Denver's first big event coming this March. Heyday is like a state fair, but it's in the city and it's indoors, and it's designed to celebrate everything we love about Denver. There's so much I'm excited about with Heyday. In particular, though, I'm super stoked to get a fortune from Zoltar, and they're going to have a claw machine where you win every single time. But there's so much more. Incredible food and drinks, live performances from local artists, and you get to hang out with me and the rest of the CityCast Denver crew. So come on down. Get your Heyday tickets now at heydaydenver.com. That's heydaydenver.com. Okay, well, let's talk about our next category, which is something to eat or drink. Adrian, you want to start us off?
Let's eat. My recommendation for March is to eat everything. Like, eat everything. Because Denver Restaurant Week returns March 7th through the 16th.
Yes.
I don't know what anniversary they're on. I think it's the 21st or something. Doesn't matter. It's an annual eat, all you can eat, not all you can eat. But essentially, hundreds of restaurants across Denver and other areas around Denver, so Lakewood, Aurora, some of those places will participate in this week where you can get a meal for somewhere. I think this year they have a 4 price points. So you have 25, 35, 45, and 55. And so essentially those levels get you a somewhat fixed meal. There are some choices you can make in some of these menus, but it's literally, I was looking at the list of restaurants this year, and they literally have like Benihana. So you can take your dad and he's going to love it. Or take me, another non-dad.
You're a Benihana guy?
Oh, dude.
It's a spectacle. It's fun.
It's such a dad thing. Like, I never remember what I ate there. I have no memory, recollection of the actual food. But they also have like local stuff like Shells and Sauce, which is a restaurant I used to live by there.
Oh, yeah.
Fancy upscale places that you might not usually go to, like Noisette, Tavernetta, I saw was on there. March 7th through the 16th, and see what all the buzz is about.
I'm looking at the list of restaurants now, and I'm seeing one that I think I might have to jump on. The Fort. The Fort, I've always wanted to go to.
So fun.
Because it's like got that like Western heritage, and it's, you know, out by Morrison. It's in this unique place, and it's so dang expensive. But they're on the $45 price point, which is like way cheaper than it would normally be to go there. So this might be the time.
That's one of my favorite things about this is you can go to places that like maybe, I don't know, like Benihana. I'm not really going to go to Benihana, right? But I might go do that. But also it might give you access to try something that you usually would not go to, right? The Fort is, you could go there and have an entree and a drink and maybe spend $45. So this gives people some, opportunity to visit places that you can go. So Paul, let me know if you want to borrow a cowboy hat.
You got it, man.
Paul, what about you? Something to eat or drink this month?
The tour of Rhino continues. I'm going to have a couple of picks here. There's one place I mentioned on the show recently, Redeemer Pizza, which I have been enjoying a lot. I think it is currently the best slice counter in the city. You go around back, you enter through the alley. They also have a great, more of a traditional pizza parlor vibe out front, and a really cool piece of art with like, what's the guy's name? MF Doom, who wore the mask?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But it's a mask, but it's all pizza. So it's kind of a cool old pizza parlor with that new, it feels very Rhino to me. And I think they make great pizza. They have a great happy hour deal I've talked about on the show. We'll link to that episode. But I want to talk about Stowaway Kitchen. Because Stowaway Kitchen I visited recently because I had a friend who worked there for a while and was talking it up. This place is great. It's like Australian coffee culture. You can treat it as a cafe. But on the weekends, they do breakfast and lunch, and it is just banging. I thought it was great value. They have like really nicely elevated breakfast classics. I had an oatmeal with some, nicely prepared fruits and granola and stuff, and it was delicious. And then fun Japanese-inspired dishes like this donburi bowl with onion and soft scrambled egg. Just really delicious, great space, nice people. I loved my time at Stowaway Kitchen. Those are my 2 Rhino picks for where to eat in March.
So Redeemer and Stowaway. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Redeemer MF Doom connection, that's automatically a signal to me that you're cool. Like if you're down with MF Doom and KMD, I'll go there. We're on the same wavelength in some way. So I love that. Cool. Well, I'm staying in Aurora for my recommendation. I got a noodle bowl recently at Yum Ya, which is on the sign, in English, it looks like Danda. And I looked up to a pronouncer, and I'm not doing the greatest job, but it's Yum Ya. What's so cool about this space is it's one of the sisters, her sister owns Bon and Butter. She used to run Savory Vietnam. So if you were into that on the west side, you can go there for a similar, if not better experience, to be honest with you. This space is so beautiful. The mural is beautiful. The color scheme they've used in there is beautiful. They do these really cool towers to make your own spring rolls. And the service is great, but it is banging packed. So I highly recommend a reservation or going early. We ended up getting something to go because the wait was like 45 minutes or something. But I got a noodle bowl and it was huge. And I ended up getting 2 meals worth out of it. And it was delicious. So highly recommend it.
Yeah, same story when Megan and I went. Huge portions. It was very what they told us was it was like peasant classics, like
a
kind of
lot
a
of
lower
comfort
class
food.
comfort food, yeah, or like traditionally lower class but elevated versions of these dishes. Huge portions, very fun.
So good. It was so good. I was just blown away by how delicious it was. And like I said, Bond and Butter's actually next door. Unfortunately, they close at 4, so they weren't open when we were there. But maybe you do an afternoon and hit both of those spots. It was great.
I need to go there, man.
You should.
Peasant food, I'm in.
You'd love it. It's so good. Okay, our final category for the month of March is something green. Again, open to interpretation. I will kick this off. I was on South Broadway the other day, and I hit a tea cafe, and I got the matcha no sua, and it's matcha tea with condensed milk, but the no sua aspect is it's vegan condensed milk, which I've not come across before, which I thought was so awesome. So you can get oat milk or coconut milk, condensed milk versions. And it was like, I'm a dairy person, but my husband is really not a dairy person. And like, we've just, usually like if you get Vietnamese iced coffee, it comes with condensed milk. You can get this here with oat milk or coconut milk. And I recommend the iced matcha. It was a beautiful green drink. Also, aesthetically, that place, it's, again, beautiful on the inside. The presentation of their drinks is gorgeous. They do one with flan on the top of it, Adrian. I don't know if you've had that. Oh, it's insane. And then they draw these beautiful little, they're almost like luggage tags. They put your order on and then they put them on the drink. Like, it's one of those drinks you want to take a picture of, for sure. So my recommendation is an iced matcha no sua at Tea Cafe. Adrian, what about you? Something green.
I'm in. I had such a hard time. I went back and forth to try to choose so many things, but I landed on bonsai tree.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of greeneries, listen, we're like in endless unprecedented times and endless viral moments. We're doom scrolling. Why not put the phone down and focus on something that takes like dozens, if not hundreds of years to cultivate and real care? I've been like a amateur fan of bonsai forever. I've tried twice, killed both of them.
It's really hard. It's really hard to keep.
It just takes a lot of like actual care and knowledge about what trees thrive where, right? So it's like here, if I put an aspen in my backyard, well, I don't know about an aspen, but there's certain things that are just not going to thrive in Colorado. So my real recommendation is the Rocky Mountain Bonsai Society. So they typically run out of the Denver Botanic Garden. So they're the folks that exhibit the bonsais that are in the gardens that you might have seen over on the north side of the gardens. But they focus specifically on trees that will thrive in the Rocky Mountain region. And they have a lot of great education. They have monthly meetings, super easy, whatever level you want to get into. You can attend their monthly meetings and see what they're up to for free. It's open to the public, or you can get a membership for $50 for an individual or $75 for a family. And that includes anyone that's in your household. So Bree, you could take Montgomery down there and just teach them about trees. It's super open. I've always loved the vibe because it's open. So if I just want to learn, if I really want to get into it, that membership also gives you an opportunity to participate in their annual show. So if you want to build a bonsai and then exhibit it and try to win an award.
I love this idea. I think also my husband's the green thumb. Also, his birthday's in March. Maybe I'll get him a membership to this because he bought a bonsai from that sweet man that sells them on like Alameda and Santa Fe.
Yep.
And he told him the whole story of how he grew it and how long it took. And then Greg like tried so hard and it died. So I think this would be the solution is going and learning from the experts on which ones are the best and how to keep them alive.
Love it. Yeah, those are the two that I killed were from that man on Santa Fe and Alameda. That poor man. I'm ashamed to go back and see him.
I have to disclose that the Denver Botanic Gardens is occasionally a sponsor of the podcast. But Adrian, I'm not sure you even knew that when you were making that pick. So
I had no idea.
Had nothing to do with why they're showing up.
I just
here.
love baby trees.
Just a cool tree thing.
Paul, do you want to close this out with something green for March?
Yes, I do. So my something green is a few something greens that you can do in Rhino. Number one, ride your bike there. Even though we lost that car-free block on 2900 Larimer, still a pretty walkable and bikeable neighborhood. Lots going on, nice bike infrastructure. It's a pretty cool area to walk around and check out all the street art. So that's one. Number two, there are maturing trees now at around 26th and Larimer. These trees, I think, got planted 10, 15 years ago when the neighborhood first started turning over from the post-industrial warehousey kind of vibe. And it's lovely. It looks really nice. So if you haven't been over there for a while, it's like kind of coming into its own, this area. And then three, there's so many new trendy shops in Rhino now. It's fun to walk into some of these shops, especially Green Spaces, which is probably my best on target rec for this category. But Green Spaces used to be a co-working space full of plants and stuff, but it got taken over a couple years ago by some local entrepreneurs who have set up like a maker's market. So there's like a vintage clothing stall. There's an area where you can do like photo shoots for Instagram inside of there. Not that the whole of Rhino and all the alleys aren't already perfect for that. See people doing that all the time. But Green Spaces is a good place to start. But then there's tons of new shops. Arc'teryx is over there. There's a Pendleton I saw when I was over there.
Nice.
I have never had enough confidence to buy anything and wear anything from Pendleton, but I love going in that store.
Great brand.
So that's my pick for something green. A few things green.
A few things green. We have even more recommendations. If you go to denver.citycast.fm/newsletter, you can sign up for our newsletter, and we put events every week in your inbox. Also, if you become a member, you get a special members-only events list every Monday that gets sent right to your inbox to let you know everything that's happening for the week. You can go to membership.citycast.fm, sign up for that right now, get those that early plan ahead a little bit with your events, and also support this show and our newsletter. And we do this every month. And you can also you can submit your own events if you go to our newsletter as well. If you've got cool stuff going on you want people to know about, you can also email us, denver@citycast.fm. We'd love to hear from you. Paul, Adrian, thank you so much. March sounds awesome.
Let's go. Happy March, y'all.
Hey, thanks, Bree. I've got one more bonus recommendation, though, for you.
Bring it on.
Great.
Courtesy of our sponsors at the Aspen Chamber Resort Association, I did a little sponsored interview with their vice president for destination marketing, Eliza Voss, about Aspen and some cool stuff they got going on in Aspen this year. And I just had so much fun doing this conversation. I got to talk about some of my favorite Aspen Denver connections. And listeners, I hope you all enjoy it.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that conversation with Paul about Aspen. Thanks, guys.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Paul Caroli, here with Eliza Voss, Vice President of Destination Marketing at Aspen Chamber Resort Association. Welcome, Eliza.
Thanks so much for having me.
Eliza, I'm so glad you're here because we get to talk about one of my favorite Denver Aspen connections I don't think people know about, Herbert Bayer.
Yes.
So Denverites who have driven on I-25 know the French fry sculpture called the Articulated Wall, technically. Herbert Bayer is the artist behind it, but he has deep roots in Aspen. Eliza, can you talk to us about that?
So Walter and Elizabeth Pepke were industrialists from Chicago. They came to Aspen following World War II and brought with them Herbert Bayer, who was a Bauhaus master. Bauhaus was an art school in Germany, and many of the masters had to flee during World War II. And when the Pepkes arrived in Aspen with Herbert Bayer, he sort of became the modern-day founders of Aspen today. And the most obvious place to start to look at Herbert Bayer's art is the Aspen Institute campus, which he also designed. So the Aspen Institute campus is definitely, rich with Herbert Bayer art and influence.
I mean, people have this idea of Aspen, but I think Denverites, if they were to go with that idea of seeing more of Herbert Bayer's influence, I think it would be such a richer experience.
Yeah. He was a prolific artist. Every time I go to the Resnick Center for Herbert Bayer Studies, I'm sort of blown away at how much he produced.
Not just French fries, folks.
Yeah.
So I guess we have to talk about business a little bit. The ACRA, the Aspen Chamber Resort Association, is a destination marketing organization. And I know you all have a new destination management plan. The whole idea of that is helping people have a good time, making sure that a visit works for the tourists and the people that live there.
Yes.
What should listeners know about this new plan?
For a long time, destinations were focusing only on the visitor, and sort of following COVID, it came to everyone's attention that it really needs to be a symbiotic relationship between the resident and the visitor. So the industry in general reached back out to their residents to understand what was working for them and what was not. And our destination management plan was informed by those engagement sessions so that we could understand how to preserve this as a place where people wanted to visit, but also protect the quality of life for our residents.
Such a relevant issue right now. I mean, I don't know about you, but I watched the first episode of the new season of The White Lotus.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a lot of people out there thinking like, I want to visit cool places and have a good time, but I don't want to torture the people that live there. Is there
Totally.
a tip or like a single thing you'd pull out that people that are visiting Aspen should know?
This is like a really funny thing, but I feel like a lot of people don't know that there's etiquette on trails and that uphill hikers have the right of way. And so that is a funny thing that can cause people to be a little grumpy on the trail. But so that's my little nugget.
All right. So I think a lot of people, when they're visiting Aspen, they're thinking skiing. And I know ski season runs probably through end of April-ish. Is there anything that people should know about that's coming up, happening in Aspen, events, activities that are like can't miss things this season before the end of the ski season?
We have some world-renowned closing parties, which will happen in April. Also, the Aspen Skiing Company will be offering discounted lift tickets in April, so that's something to consider for people.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So one thing about Aspen I've always wanted to come and do is hike Maroon Bells, which I know is a super popular and super beautiful trail. Is there anything about Maroon Bells that people should know?
So a couple of things. If you're actually hiking those 14,000-foot peaks, I would recommend going with a guide. But I think you're probably referring to there's a scenic trail at the base.
That's all for
of the
today here on
recreation
CityCast
area
Denver.
around
If
the
you
lake.
enjoyed the show,
Yeah, I wanna
why
get
don't
that
you take a
John
minute to tell
Fielder
the guy who
photo
sells
of the
bonsai trees at
reflection
Santa
of
Fe
the
and
mountain.
Alameda about us.
The
Rate the
recreation
show
area is
wherever you get your
super popular,
podcasts
and there
and
is a
subscribe to our
reservation
morning
and
newsletter and
shuttle
learn more
system
about us
for
at
access.
Okay, do we have a URL we could toss out there
Oh,
for
and if you
folks?
love the
Visit
fucking show,
maroonbells.com.
and if you-
All right, Eliza, one last question. We've been talking about this in different ways, but people have this idea of what Aspen is that might not be correct. What do you think would surprise people about the real Aspen?
I think almost everyone, when they come and actually visit here, is surprised by the sense of community that they find. You know, you see someone who's renting you your skis, and then you run into them on the mountain, and then you might run into them at Après. So that community is really what gets people to stay in Aspen. And then it is also what kind of gives it that special appeal for visitors.
Well, listeners, hope you enjoy a trip to Aspen this year. Eliza Voss, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Again, check out aspenchamber.org to learn more. We'll have all the links to everything we talked about in our show notes as well, so you're just a click away. Thanks for listening.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell the guy who sells bonsai trees at Santa Fe and Alameda about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. And if you love the show, come see us in person at Heyday, an indoor fair with a distinctly Denver twist, on Saturday, March 8th. Get your tickets now at heydaydenver.com. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you later. A little place called Aspen, someplace warm, a place where the beer flows like wine, where the women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm talking about a little place called Aspen.